She thought Heath and Rain were different. That's why it hurts. Why? Tia mumbles through the tears. Why don't people want to be my friend? One of the cans she brought tumbles to the floor, rolling away with a soft clink. Tia doesn't react. The corridor is silent. Only the faint sound of Tia sobbing can be heard echoing off the walls. She hasn't the strength to go inside the classroom. Tia feels like giving up. As the demons whisper their cruel thoughts in her, Tia remains oblivious to the quiet, nervous footsteps creeping closer. What she doesn't know is that someone has been trailing her, too anxious and shy to speak up. Having witnessed Tia break down into tears, Jessie decides now it's time to make their presence known. Picking up the can of soft drink that escaped, Jessie forces themselves to speak. Here, Jessie mumbles, looking away but holding out the can in Tia's direction. A little shocked, Tia jumps and instantly looks up in fright. She frantically wipes the tears from her face, ruining her makeup at the same time. She then looks at the drink in Jessie's hand, but doesn't take it. You can have it, Tia says, bereft of life. Jessie also jumps a little. Their nervous disposition makes them avoid others like the plague. They begin to shake and worry, knowing that they need to interact back. Breathing fast, Jessie holds the can to their chest in utter delight. Thank you. Tia, however, is emotionally drained. She gets to her feet, desperately clutching at the remaining snacks in her arms. She glances at Jessie for a moment, but doesn't know them. Jessie isn't in any of her classes. You're welcome, Tia replies, kicking the club room door open. Tia strides into the room, marching straight to the nearest table, dumping the snacks with a sharp motion before leaning heavily on the desk as if the weight of the world is pressing down on her. Heath and Rain aren't here, just like she feared. If Jessie weren't outside, Tia would break down. She's struggling to keep it together, one fragile breath at a time. Jessie, who stands at the clubroom door, looks in. They study Tia for a moment, knowing that she's clearly upset. However, they have no idea what to do or say. They don't talk to the other school kids often, and even approaching Tia was difficult. Jessie looks at the can of soft drink that Tia has graciously let them have, and they are filled with a feeling of warmth. Although it's a tiny gesture from one person to another, Jessie will never be able to explain in words how much it means to them. Being brave, Jessie steps into the room. They do their best not to interrupt Tia, who's holding in the tears. Jessie watches Tia rub her eyes several times and finds themselves getting frustrated. They want to ask what is wrong, but the words are heavy on their tongue. Instead of talking, Jessie approaches the table Tia is leaning on. Quietly, Jessie pulls out a stool and, shaking like a leaf, sits beside Tia. Tia looks up and sniffs back, having to rub tears from her eyes once again. She's confused about what Jessie wants. In fact, it makes her a little upset. You can have that drink, Tia snaps. But can you just leave me alone, please? Jessie's heart thuds like crazy. They don't want to leave. It's taken them all day to build up the courage to even approach. Quivering, they begin to rapidly blink as they become so frustrated that they can't communicate what they want to say. Tia notices how agitated Jessie is becoming. It's clear that they haven't come to tease. Tia's curiosity gets the better of her. Can I help you? Jessie nods, but doesn't give Tia any eye contact. What do you want? Tia asks, noticing how Jessie is clinging to the can of drink. Jessie freaks a little and freezes still. This makes Tia feel a little bad, but not enough for her to say sorry. Moments pass as neither of them say another word. Tia rocks backward and forward on her tiptoes, waiting for another answer, but eventually she gets bored and starts looking at her phone. She bites down on her lip, desperately hoping for a message from Heath and Rain, but there are no notifications. Frustration, anger, and sadness bubble up inside her as she slides onto the stool opposite Jessie, collapsing into a slump. More time passes, and neither of them says anything. Jessie doesn't even appear to move. It's like they're a rodent frozen in fear, and Tia is a predator waiting to swoop. To Tia's side is a small notepad and pencil. She was going to use it to list ideas for what the cross-dressing club could do. She hoped that Heath and Rain would have some fun ideas, but alas, it remains empty. Tia begins to idly chat as she draws figures in the notepad. I'm supposed to be running my after-school club today. However, no one has turned up. Tia glances in Jessie's direction, and they are still clutching to the can for dear life, so she decides to continue talking. I don't want to go home yet, even though no one is here, Tia explains. If I do, my mom will only ask why I'm home early. She'll only worry that the friends I told her about have abandoned me. Tia starts scribbling harder before stopping to rub her eyes. I don't want my mom to worry about me. Tia then stares at a single teardrop that's fallen from her face and landed on her drawing. After hearing Tia mention her mom, Jessie gathers the courage to glance in her direction. Like Tia, Jessie doesn't want their family to worry, but they know it's inevitable. The weight of that knowledge presses on them. That's why they're approaching Tia in the first place, a silent attempt to reach out for help. Can I join? Jessie asks as their voice cracks several times in the process. Stunned by Jessie's voice breaking the silence, Tia can hardly believe it. She rubs her sore eyes again, glancing up at Jessie in disbelief. Expecting her to be looking away, Tia is instead met with direct eye contact, and in that moment, the pain behind those big green eyes is undeniable. Are you trans? Tia asks, unable to stop herself from becoming excited. Jessie shakes their head. Tia regroups her thoughts. Are you a cross-dresser? Jessie shrugs, then looks like they are thinking before they shake their head. An ally? Tia suggests, becoming flustered by Jessie's answers. Jessie smiles and carefully places the can of drink on the desk. Is that it? Tia asks, becoming excited. Jessie shakes their head. Tia blinks and looks away with a pout. Not an ally, then? She sighs. Jessie knows what they want to tell Tia, but again, the words just won't come out. Reaching across for Tia's notepad, Jessie swipes the pen from Tia's finger. Jessie begins to write something down. Jessie points at Tia and then points down at their drawing in the notepad. What Jessie has drawn is a symbol of a female. Tia looks at it bemused, so Jessie points again at Tia before pointing at the symbol. I'm a girl? Tia asks. Jessie nods and begins to draw again. This time, they draw the symbol for a male. Tia looks at the drawing. You're a boy? Tia asks. Jessie looks up and shakes their head before pointing at their own chest. Tia watches with interest before Jessie draws a line thick through both the male and female symbols drawn on the page. Tia furrows her brow. You don't know what gender you are. A smile begins to work its way across Tia's face as she begins to figure out what she's been shown. Are you unsure what gender you are? Maybe you're gender neutral. Ecstatic that they've been able to tell Tia, Jessie bounces in their seat and beams a bright smile. Tia reacts in the same way and smiles back. Can I join? Jessie asks, desperate for Tia to say yes. Tia looks around the room frantically. She honestly can't believe it. Yes, she blurts out in response. Of course you can. I'd be honored. Jessie looks down, having to take a break from eye contact with Tia. However, it's not because they are sad. It's because they are so overwhelmed in delight. For comfort, Jessie reaches for the can of drink Tia gave her. They bring it close to their chest and hold it tight. Tia's mind is racing. She feels needed, and the chance to help someone else revitalizes her. Tia wants to say something impactful, but her mind is a jumble. How can I help you? Jessie again freezes. Asking to join was a massive step for them, but to explain what they need, well, that's beyond anything they planned for. They don't even know the answer. Tia, excited, doesn't realize that Jessie is recoiling in fear. She begins to speak out loud and fast, verbally spewing ideas everywhere. Jessie, made uncomfortable by all the noise, begins to freak out. They begin to quiver once again. Even writing in a notepad seems too much. The situation becomes so unbearable for Jessie that they consider running from the room and hiding. Just as things are about to go critical in Jessie's mind, a soft, calming voice speaks up. "Tia," Heath says softly, as he puts his hand on Tia's shoulders. "You might want to chill." Utterly stunned, Tia's heart skips a beat as she slowly looks up at him, a smile on his face. Her expression twists with anger, but tears begin to fall. She wants to shout at him, to demand why he and Rain didn't show up, but at the same time she's overwhelmed by the relief of seeing him. "Where have you—" Heath gently squeezes Tia's shoulders, offering her a warm smile before placing a finger to his lips, signaling silence. Frustrated and still itching to shout, Tia opens her mouth, but Heath calmly points the same finger towards Jessie, urging her to hold back. Tia, still very angry and upset, glances at Jessie for a moment. They are shaking and rocking in their seat, but it takes a moment for Tia to understand. She turns back to Heath and wants to give him an earful. However, before she can let loose, Heath lets go of her shoulder and walks around the table to take a seat next to Jessie. Heath, talking unusually quietly, turns to look at Jessie with a smile. "Hey," he says. "I'm proud of you, Jessie. You came like me and your mom suggested." Jessie, still shaking as they stare down at the can in their hands, forces a smile. Heath then looks up at Tia, who is still fuming, but so confused as to what's going on. "Me and Rain owe you an apology, club leader," Heath admits with a dopey smile. "Jessie here, they are a family friend. They are in the lower year to us, but after joining your club and meeting you, I suggested it to their mom." Heath grins as the frustration on Tia's face fades. "I'm late because I felt it important that Jessie speak with you alone. I'm sure you can understand why." Tears drop from Tia's eyes as she stares at the young Jessie sitting opposite. "So you don't hate me then?" Tia asks Heath, wiping her eyes. "Are you talking to me?" Heath asks before gently laughing. "No, I don't hate you, you silly biscuit. I'm your friend, Tia. Maybe have some faith, yeah?" "Rain?" Tia asks, looking away as tears of joy dribble from her eyes and down her cheeks. "Oh, yeah," Heath answers. "Apparently one of her brothers is sick. She had to go straight home because her dad couldn't go collect him. She said she'd send you a message. I'm guessing she forgot. She did say that she's gutted that we aren't taking me to get a full-body wax." Oh. Tia hangs her head in shame. She assumes so much and didn't even consider anything else. "Hey, so are we letting Jessie join?" Tia nods. "Well done, Jessie," Heath says softly and in their direction. "If anyone knows how to be comfortable in their own skin, it's our club leader, Tia. She's the strongest person I know." Heath then leans across the table to look at the snacks. "See? She buys snacks for us because she's super nice." Not much else is said after that. Heath is quieter than usual, and Tia figures it's to make Jessie feel more at ease. The rest of their time in the club is spent in silence, munching on snacks. But before leaving, Jessie shares their cell number with Tia, officially becoming the newest member of the club. When they part ways, Heath walks home with Tia, and Jessie is picked up by their mother. "Hiya, sweetheart." Jessie's mom greets them as they get into the passenger seat. "Oh, a can of pop?" Jessie's mom notices Jessie clutching the can of drink given to them by Tia. Jessie smiles at their mother and shows her the can. "Oh," Jessie's mom grins. "I take it that after school club Heath suggested let you in? I was waiting for your message when school ended just in case, but I'm proud of you for taking that step on your own." "Yes," Jessie nods and says nothing more. Jessie's mom pulls away and starts driving home. About halfway into the journey, Jessie turns to their mother, which is unusual. "Mom," Jessie speaks up. "I really like my club leader. She's like a hero. She's hurting, but still wants to help others." "Oh?" Jessie's mom replies. "Like the heroes from your stories?" Jessie nods and grins. Do you think I could be brave like her? You can be anything you like, sweetheart, Jessie's mom replies as a single tear slides down her cheek. Jessie's mom starts to become a little emotional, but she hides it. I'm proud of you for doing that on your own, Jessie. Maybe this club will be good for you. I hope they become your friends. Jessie clutches the can of soft drink even tighter. Me too, Mom. Me too.
Thank you so very much for watching and making it all the way to the very end. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where members get early access to all our content.